Hey, what's up everybody? It's Taj Rockitt. I'm here in my living room and I'm here to chat with y'all because I'm gonna recap my first ever Century bike ride. That's right, the San Diego Century. You see that medal, baby, 102.5. That's the amount of miles that I rode on my bike straight up until the finish line. You know what I'm saying, baby? But I did my first ever Century ride. You see the purple medal because I climbed the purple monster, but I did it here in San Diego for the first time ever about a week ago. Now, the reason why I'm here to recap with you is because not only was it the furthest I've ever ridden my bike, but I just want to share my experience with you. If you've ever thought, or you have one coming up, maybe I can hit you with some tips, tricks, and some tidbits that may help you on your long trip. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, as you can see, the medal's purple. You see a nice big mountain. Now, this ride that was here in San Diego did about a week ago. Now, it's 102.5 miles. There's a couple options. You could have done a 68 or so mile ride or a 33, right? But I chose the big boy. Now, even though I chose this ride, I had never ridden my bike further than 56 miles before this ride. Now, when I rode that 56 mile, it was during my half Ironman, which I filmed a recap video of, which was about a little over a month ago. Now, with that ride, it was after I had already swam 1.2 miles in the Gulf of Mexico, and then I rode. Now, this time, I was fresh, right? Just fresh, hopped on the bike, and that was all we did. We just bombed out a 102.5. That's right, a 102.5. Now, it took me 6 hours and 10 minutes to get the entire course done. Now, this course comprised of a lot of hill climbs, which I am not 100% used to. Reason being, I'm a triathlete. I'm used to being in that drop position, where you're pretty much just parallel, and I'm not even in the video right now parallel, but you're pretty much parallel to the floor, and you have your head, and you're just looking upward. But during this Century, straight up, we climbed over 6,700 feet of total elevation. Now, this is not my last Century, and I'm just getting used to being in the saddle, which is the seat on a bicycle for over 100 miles, because my ultimate goal, becoming an Ironman pro, which is the reason why I'm here talking to y'all, is I got a bike, that's right, 112 miles after swimming 2.4 in the ocean, and that's before I run a full marathon. That's a full Ironman if you didn't already know. But basically, this ride that I did, it was a ride. It was the first time I've ever ridden with other people like that. I'm usually a solo dolo, training on my own, getting things done on my own. But this ride, it was something brand new. We were riding in packs. We were drafting off each other. And we weren't exactly racing, but when you get the competitive juices flowing, you get excited and you get going. You know what I'm saying? But this ride, it took a lot of mental fortitude and reminders on why I was there to keep me trucking and keep me pushing, especially up through those treacherous hills and the purple monster, which is what this medal is, purple. And you can see purple monster, the monster climb right there, the purple monster climb. That's what we did. Now, this ride had a few checkpoints along the way. Every 20 plus miles or so, there was checkpoints that they asked you to stop. Now, this time, because it was my first one, I did choose to stop at every checkpoint. Unfortunately, before I hit the first checkpoint, I had to pee really bad. Straight up peed on myself. Straight up. And I've been told a lot, yeah, it's okay to pee on yourself on your bike. It's going to dry off. You'll hit the wind. And I peed on myself. But unfortunately, I peed on myself 2 minutes before the first checkpoint. And then, of course, there was porta potties. So, learning a lot about, just these rides. And, I definitely recommend, if you ever choose to do a Century ride or an Ironman or half Ironman, just know the course, know where the checkpoints and or stop points would be, where the bathrooms may be. And if you're willing to, like me, you might just pee on yourself. All right. So just think about that. But I straight up peed on myself. No shame in my game. You just see it dripping, and I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? It's just dripping on the floor, doing some more. You know how it is. The dude behind me was looking at me weird when I pulled into the checkpoint, but not worried about it. Got back on my saddle, got back on my horse, and got back on the course. You know what I'm saying? But the Century ride. So 102.5, had quite a few, about 4 or 5 checkpoints along the way. Now, the first 20 miles, easy peasy, was dominantly flat. And then next 20 miles or so started kind of adding some incline, but then we had some steady declines. And then the purple monster. Now, what the purple monster was, it was a 7% grade hill climb time trial, which went on for I believe about 1.7 miles of just straight 7% incline. Now, they timed me out of I believe it was like 250 plus people. I placed 50th on the time trial. Now, if you know much about tri bikes, or if you don't, basically there's the drop bars in the middle, and then you got the side pieces, the side handle bars, which have the brakes as well. Now, I was living on my side handles where my brakes live for most of the ride because of the hills and also the crazy downhills, which I got up to about 37 miles per hour. You need to be able to be ready on those brakes. Now, when you're in that drop position, you're more aerodynamic, which makes you a lot faster, but it also makes you less stable, something that I definitely learned. Now, for stability purposes, keeping the hands wide is important. But let's say, if you're on my handlebars, I'm gonna take this pen right here. Let's pretend like this is the entire handle that you're gripping, right? Only about where the cap is where I actually had a rubber grip. So I was gripping metal pretty much the entire ride with my hands. So in turn, my hands went numb quite a few times. Not only that, and I'm gripping for my life a lot of times on those downhills, especially when I started hitting over 37 miles an hour. But my hands went numb, and I had a hard time utilizing my hands and my forearms the following week, which is part of the reason why I waited to shoot this video, because I wanted to hit you guys up when I was fully recovered. But it was something that was new. I didn't know. I now know I need to get better wraps for my handlebars for my upcoming Gran Fondo Century ride, which is coming up in about 2+ weeks. We're going to be climbing over 12,000 feet of elevation, so about double what we did this last Century ride. But the Century ride, so we did a lot of climbing. We rode in packs, and it was really no headphones, no music, no bands along the way like these rock and roll marathons. Just straight up you, your mind, and your grind, and your will to be better, do better every single pedal stroke. All right. Now, we went into a lot of different areas in San Diego. We started up in like the Encinitas region. We went up towards Carlsbad. We went up towards Escondido. We went up to Carlsbad. Then we went over to San Marcos, came back down, ended up going up towards Escondido, ended up towards Ramona, and then we came back around, went through Poway, the crazy mountains in Poway, and then we came back down and made our way over. Basically, we were all through all of northern San Diego, both east, west, and north as well. So we just kind of stayed all up in that. But it was 102.5 total miles. I'm telling you, if you think you can do it, you can do it. I had never ridden that far in my entire life, but I had a goal in mind. I know I had my ultimate goal of becoming an Ironman pro, but I had a goal in mind to get this done. Now, I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. This was something that was very important to me, but I was very nervous. Reason being, Laura was at work all day, so I didn't have my trusty buddy to call just in case if something went bad, let's say a flat or if I crashed or whatever. But I just trusted the process and just threw myself out there. The night before, I had jitters, had a hard time sleeping. I brought way too much nutrition because I just didn't know what was gonna be out there. I.e., you should definitely check out your course and see what's out there. But I was nervous. I was scared, right? Because I had never ridden that far. I didn't know how I was going to feel. And honestly, I felt better than I thought I would up until about mile 70, 75, right? Around that point, we had already climbed all the hills. It was crazy amount of hills. And then we started hitting some baby hills, and I started getting super heavy legs. My body was tired, and you get to a point where you're so tired, you get kind of delusional. I definitely got delusional, but I didn't lose sight of my goal. People were passing me, and then I was passing people, and then I caught some packs, but then I caught a pack of people that were going 22 miles per hour or so average, and I kept up with them pretty much the whole time towards the last like 25, 30 miles or so. And it was rough to keep up with these people because you could tell a few of them were like, whew, hardcore heavy cyclists, right? You could tell they ride in packs. They go out and ride long rides weekly, probably, every other few days they're riding in groups, right? And I'm the type of person that's just kind of out here. I teach at Orange Theory. I do me. I go to the gym. I take care of business, but I'm asleep at 7 o'clock and I'm up at 3 every day. So a lot of times these training rides or when people train together, I'm busy or I need to be asleep so I can be productive when I am busy. So it's just all new. It's riding in groups of people. I can see why people love to ride with other people. It's community. It's camaraderie. You're going through the same pain with other people, and it motivates you not to stop. It motivates you not to quit. It motivates you to keep going. And they're going fast. You're going fast. You guys are pushing each other. So as you go fast, you start to get tired. They go fast, which makes you go fast. And it's nonstop physical push and motivation. And I highly encourage you, if you're somebody, let's say, that needs to find a new hobby or looking to find a new hobby or looking to find positive people. You're like, I want to start getting around fit people, but I don't know where to start. Throw yourself out there. Things like the Century Ride, I got to know some people. We got chatting. I got some new friends on Strava because of it. And now we're just kind of, it's like Strava is the Facebook for fitness people. And now I got new people on Strava. And now I know when they got new events, and we'll link up and we'll chat. And this is a great way to build your community and a great way to use technology to build your community as well. But this Century Ride, I just threw myself out there, and I'm so happy that I did. Now, going downhill, specifically the crazy, super fast, going down the Purple Monster specifically, was probably the fastest I've gone on that bike in windy situations. I've gotten over 40 miles an hour before. I got it to about 37.1, but it felt like 45. And I've never been 45. These dudes were going over 45, and they were just zoom, zoom, and you could tell they were comfortable, but they were on cycle bikes, like actual like Tour de France type cycle bikes, whereas I'm once again on a tri bike. And a lot of people are like, you know, are you a triathlete? You know, a lot of people just ride. I'm like, yes, I'm a triathlete. Yes, you know, da-da-da. But obviously I'm still learning about like long-term cycling, and I got to get used to being in the uncomfortable positions of being in the drop position and having my neck start to, you know, build those muscles, those smaller muscle groups to be able to hold my body in the positions that I'm looking to be in for hours and hours and hours on end. Now, to be an elite triathlete, you know, for 112 miles, I need to shave like 2 hours off of what I did, hour and a half, 2 hours. But I also will most likely in a lot of these Ironman triathlons that I'm doing, they're not going to have the hills. But I think building the hills, you know that there's going to be hills out there, but they're fun as well. But just getting used to putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations will make the flats that much more fun and that much more fast. And it will make your mind shift. You start to change the way you perceive things. You change the way you see things. And when you put yourself in painful situations, things that make you doubt why you're even there, make you question the reason why you're even chasing these dreams, because you don't have to. You don't have to do these difficult things in life. You don't have to chase these difficult dreams. You don't have to try to do the hard things in life. You can take the easy way out. You can take the easy route. But when you choose not to, when you choose to overcome the pain, when you choose to push past that threshold that you're used to, when you're used to doing something X amount of miles and you do double the amount of miles without doing anything different, but just putting yourself in the uncomfortable situation consistently, something happens, something clicks, something ticks, and you realize that you're capable of literally anything. Literally anything. Like, let's say you're having a hard time losing weight. You can analyze things. And you can start to pinpoint why. And you take control. And you can make decisions to be better every day. And you start to analyze your smaller steps. And you start to look at things in a more logical, less dream, out of this world, like I can do anything. No, it's I can do anything. But I have to follow these steps, and I need to make a plan, and I need to make sure I'm executing the plan to the T. And it's okay if I miss days here and there, but I have to be realistic, and maybe that deadline will get pushed back. You have to be real with yourself. And what this did, this gave me 6 hours and 10 minutes of painful time to think. Not talking, not doing anything, but riding with me and myself alone, just letting thoughts pass. I call it mobile meditation. Cycling, biking, swimming, running, lifting, all these things that I do, it's mobile meditation. I don't like to sit, but I love to be in motion. It's when my thoughts start to click, right? And our body, our brain, it's been proven that our brain is better at problem solving when you are in motion because it frees up the physical so that you can focus on the mental. These types of things may work for you as well. Or maybe you're someone who does like to sit in all silence. I personally like to ride or run or swim in silence and allow those thoughts to pass. But the big thing about meditation is you're letting the thoughts pass. You don't do anything about them. You just observe them. You take in the internal inventory and you take in the messages and or the ideas or just the thoughts in general and you observe them. And you know, sometimes you analyze them, sometimes you don't. But that's part of the meditation. You just let these things go. And what you will notice is when you let certain thoughts pass, you allow those thoughts to be replaced by other thoughts in which that you really wanted to get to. But it's like, let's say if you're trying to get to buried treasure, right? You got to dig up the dirt to get to the treasure. So you got to let the dirt pass before you can get to the treasure. Dirty thoughts till you get to the treasure thoughts, right? Exactly. And what this San Diego Century has done for me is it has reminded me how strong I am. It has reminded me how resilient I am. It has reminded me how much we can accomplish, I can accomplish, you can accomplish just by setting out and doing something that may not be the most comfortable. The things that you do in life are all up to you. Now, we have two options in life. We can live comfortably or uncomfortably. You can live comfortably uncomfortable, but either way, you're going to dominate probably in one way or the other. Obviously, we want to live in a very, very comfortable life, right? We want to be comfortable. But to get to that comfortable feeling, you're probably going to have to go through uncomfortable feelings. Now, if you're chasing a goal or a dream like a century, like an Ironman, if you're chasing a goal like a doctor, like you're trying to be a doctor. Let's say you want to get your PhD. Let's say you want to have a family. Let's say you want to move across country. Let's say you want to start your career. Let's say you want to completely change the person you are in general and change the way you perceive the person in the mirror. What happens is you have two options. You can be uncomfortable and chase a goal, or you can be uncomfortable by thinking about the goal you wish you chased, right? You have to think about what way would you like to be. No matter what, you're going to be uncomfortable. You may be more comfortable in other ways, but you'll be uncomfortable in a lot of other ways. You may not be able to take control of your brain, like when you go on these century rides, or if you go on these marathons, or if you do these Ironmans, or if you go to class and you get that PhD, you get that master's, you get that bachelor's, you create that family, and you educate your kids, and you're going to bed at a certain time and setting a solid family standard. You're uncomfortable in a lot of other ways, but if you live that comfortable life of mediocrity and you're not sacrificing and you're just doing those basic things, what you realize is you're uncomfortable in a lot of other ways because you're unsatisfied. Because in reality, us as humans, we have to strive for something better. We have to strive for something greater. We have to fight and look for things that are bigger than ourselves. And that's what this century ride has done for me. It's given me the opportunity and the option to look at myself in the mirror, to look at myself and see things clear without other things blocking me, and allowing those quote unquote dirty thoughts, the dirt that's on top of the treasure, allowing those thoughts to get out the way so I can get to the treasure mentally. Because at the end of the day, you manifest that which you create mentally. If you can see it mentally, you can create it. But you have to believe it before you see it. A lot of times what we have learned is that you have to see it to believe it. But if you believe it, you can see it. And if you can see it, then it's real. And if it's real, then you can really have it. Period. So this century ride has given me the strength, and this medal is just a representation of all that which I went through that day. So when I see this, I remember it and I recollect. I remember all those people that I was riding by. I remember the woman that was on the mobile elliptical. It was very motivating. I saw the individuals that were twice, 3 times my weight, but the same size frame, but that still made the decision. They knew they weren't in the craziest shape. I saw the people that were still going up the Purple Monster when I was flying down it. You know that it was going to take them an extra 2, 3. Some people would take 8, 10 hours to get the same ride done, but they got it done. They made a decision. And they know it's taking long because maybe they haven't been taking the progressive steps before to be where they need to be, but they are now. And you can't change the past. You can only change the future. You can only change now. And now changes the future. But at the end of the day, it was written in advance. But your past, it's already done, so you got to let it go. So this has given me clarity. This has given me perspective. My Ironman dreams are still alive. They're more alive than they've ever been. I understand that I'm stronger than I've ever been. And I'm going to continue to be stronger than I've ever been and help motivate other people like you. Because you have the potential, you have the ability, you have the confidence, the capability to do whatever you want, but you have to make the sacrifice. You have to dedicate yourself. You have to commit. Because if you don't commit, you already forfeited the opportunity to be successful and be great. And if you already forfeited, then I'm going to take that spot. I'm going to take that medal. I'm going to take that gold. Now, this ride, there was no winners. Well, everybody won. But there was no winners and losers and top 3 and champagne bottles and stuff. It was just all about the overcoming the obstacles, the Purple Monster, overcoming the mental monsters that you're fighting every day and sitting with yourself, but being in mobile situation and moving forward. And when you give yourself the opportunity to move forward, everything that's pulling you back is no longer a factor because you're already tackling it. That monkey on your back is still on your back, but it's behind you, right? It's behind you, but you know it's there. And when you recognize that those demons that you're battling, that monkey on your back, it's always going to be there. But if you're in control, it will never be in front. It will always be behind. And you'll never be behind. You'll always be ahead of the monkey because you already addressed that it's there and you know what you need to do, what steps, what preparation, you know what needs to happen. So this century, this ride, this first century that I ever did will not be my last. And I highly understand. I now understand why people do these things. I didn't fully understand it. And I talk to people. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go ride 100 plus miles on Saturday. So I'm like, why would you do that? And I've recently told people that I'm going to go back to being vegan again. Like, ugh. And it's always their response. When you do things that are outside society's norm, people, they reject you instantly. And it's not because they don't think it's it's amazing. It's not that they don't think you're amazing. It's not that they think you can't do it. It's that they actually are trying to perpetuate their feelings about themselves onto you because they don't think they can do it. Or they don't understand why you would do it. They have never even thought to do something like that because it's not even something that they just don't understand. And they may not even be able to comprehend it because first off, it may not be for them, and that's okay. And you don't need to share these things with everybody. And you know, maybe you do want to motivate other people or find out who else out there is interested or how you can help somebody else do that. Or maybe somebody else has done it and maybe they weren't fully successful and you want to help them get there. But the point is when you get reactions, initial reactions from things like, ew, why would you do that? Oh my God, I would never. I could never. There's no way. You got to understand that that's them trying to perpetuate and put themselves on you. You don't have to accept that. You can address that, but you don't have to accept that, right? Yes, that's what I'm saying. But what you will realize is there are a lot of people, thousands, hundreds, millions of other people that are out here doing these same things in different places. And they come from different backgrounds and they've overcome different obstacles. But at the moment that you're at that start line and you're in those, and you're out on those streets and you're in those hills and you're doing those things, you're not alone. Unless you're on a ride by yourself, but even then you're not alone because there's other people most likely at that time, same time, maybe somewhere else completely different in the world doing the same thing. So you're never alone when it comes to doing things like this. And when you recognize that you're never alone and you're not the only one doing this, you don't feel alone and you're able to do it more. You're more proficiently, more efficiently. You're able to overcome these issues and these obstacles. So remember that when you do things like century rides, Ironmans, all these things in life, what I've learned and what I've started to just understand, it's not about this. It's never been about this. It's never been about first, second, third. It's never been about, oh, popping champagne. It's never about that. It's about the journey. It's about the journey. It's about what you actually are realizing and understanding and getting out of these things. Because at the end of the day, who cares who wins? It doesn't matter. We all gonna die, right? We're not gonna be able to take, I don't care about my possessions. I don't care about creating this like, oh, famous, you know, all these YouTube videos. I'm just here to help y'all, right? It helps me help you because I'm also able to vent and talk about my experiences and remind me how grateful and how amazing life is and how grateful I am for life and the fact that I have the physical capabilities and the mental fortitude to accomplish physical feats such as a century ride. And so I just want to motivate others and inspire others and show others that it's possible that you can do it too. And that it's not weird. But it might be though. It might be a little weird. It's weird to society, but then people call you weird if you don't want to drink alcohol or you don't want to go out and just sit around a campfire or just sit around a bar and just talk about LeBron all day. Nothing wrong with LeBron. But the point is, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. And it's okay if people don't, you know, ew. It's okay if they do that because they don't understand it's not for them. At least not right now. Right now. And maybe it will be one day. But at the end of the day, it's your life. You do what you want with it. So I encourage any and everybody to, if you've ever thought about doing a century ride, I'm not saying do a 102.5 right out the gate. Maybe start with a 33, then work your way up to a 60 something, and then work your way up to a 102.5 or whatever you decide to do. Maybe with Ironman, you know, start with a smaller sprint triathlon, work your way up to international, then do a half, then do a whole. I can definitely say that I started with the sprint and then I went to the half, then I went back to international, Olympic, and then, I did the Olympic and then I did the half Ironman and then I'm going to do the full at the end of the year. But, you know, do what's best for you. But at the end of the day, if you think you can do it, you can do it, period. But you have to take the proper steps. You have to be smart. You have to be analytical. You have to be very self-critical. You have to be real with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are you willing to make those sacrifices? Are you willing to make those changes? Do you have somebody with you? I got Laura, my girlfriend. She's been a part of this whole journey. She supports me 100%. I'm going back to being vegan. She's going back to being vegan, right? And a lot of people don't need to understand it. I'm not saying I'm saying this because I want everybody else to be vegan. I'm just saying it's best for me. Maybe keto is best for you. Maybe just having a loose lifestyle and just listening to your body. Maybe, you know, it's up to you. But at the end of the day, you know what's best for you. You just have to keep it real with yourself. And what this century ride has done, I saw other people keeping it real with themselves, and I realized that I'm so much stronger than I even gave myself credit for. I thought it was going to take me over an hour longer. 6 hours and 10 minutes was way faster than I thought I was going to do it in. Period. And I believe that this next one that's coming up, I'm going to have more hill climbs, but I'm still going to try to keep it within like under 7. And that's what I said last time. I was like, oh, I want to keep it under 7. I need almost 6. So just remind yourself that if you want to do something, you know, things like this, you start to learn a lot about yourself in situations like this. You start to learn a lot about yourself when you're there by yourself and all you got is you at that moment. But at the end of the day, we came to this world alone and we're going to go out of this world alone. So at the end of the day, you always just have you. And you can do whatever you want to do. So don't hesitate pull the trigger, right? If you think that race is, obviously be smart, have a training plan. Let's say you need 4 months to train. Don't book a race that's in 2, book a race in 4, but book it. Hold yourself accountable, force yourself to do it, because the moment you pay that money or whatever, you're going to realize that this is a lifetime. This is a lifetime. And it's not even about, once again, the physical medal. It's about what this means, what this represents. Nobody cares about what you've won, or nobody really cares, because the moment it's done, they're now like, where's your next one? Where's your next one? But at the end of the day, you can look at yourself and say, I know what I did. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do. You know what I'm saying? You can do whatever you want. But the Century Ride has changed my life. And I think everything that led up to it and everything that's continuing to prosper or that's stemming off of it is changing my life as well. And I highly encourage any and every single person, if you have a dream, you have a goal, go for it now. Don't wait. You don't know if tomorrow's not promised. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what could happen, what should happen. You know what should happen, and you know what you need to do. So do it. I highly encourage, if you want this, go get it. There's Century Rides all over the place. And if you have any questions, holler at me. But at the end of the day, this is a big game changer for me. This is just another step in towards becoming an Ironman pro. I'm going to be an Ironman pro. I'm going to sacrifice, I've already sacrificed alcohol, smoking. I used to smoke weed. I don't do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've changed a lot of things. I used to hang out with toxic people. I don't do that anymore. I used to self-sabotage. I don't do that anymore, right? I was vegan for 8 months, and it was the best I ever felt, and then I went away from it. Now I'm going back to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just listen to yourself. Listen to your body. Listen to you. Sit with yourself. Be real. And you'll realize that you really can do whatever you want. But research your rides if you choose to do this. Research, know about nutrition, know where your actual fitness level is. I'm not saying you need to go at least 102 point, but I definitely think at least go half the distance. And if you think that you need more, do what you need to do. I highly encourage that bare minimum have gone half, but maybe even 3/4. But even like when you're marathon training, you don't go the whole distance. And I got a marathon this weekend, and it's gonna be my first marathon without headphones. I did the Century without headphones. I'm gonna do the Ironman without headphones. The whole thing is, you got this. It's just right here. You got to control yourself. You got to self-regulate. You got it. You can do it. Century Ride. San Diego Century. Life-changing event. I didn't do it for anybody else but this person, but me, the man in the mirror. So do what you need to do for you. Make the best life that you can possible with the time that you are given. Maximize your time. I'm not religious. I don't know where I'm headed after this. But I know while I'm here, I'm doing everything I can to make the rest of my life the best of my life. Period. Point blank, period. And I'm going to maximize, and I'm going to see how much this body, this tank that I'm creating, I'm going to see how much it can do, how much work it can do. And I'm going to help other people understand and realize their potential and understand that they can do whatever they want to, but they got to discipline themselves. You got to discipline yourself. You got this. You got this. All right? So San Diego Century, it was a success. 6 hours, 10 minutes. Got it done. Before the sun started cooking, I was mobbing down hills, going up hills, uncomfortable, doubting myself through a little while, but then overcame those doubts and adversity and made it happen. So I got another ride in like 2 weeks, little Grand Fondo. I'm doing a marathon at the end of this week. And you know what I'm saying? You got time, baby. You got time. How you want to spend it? Taj Rockitt, baby. Once again, San Diego Century Ride, dominated, conquered. It's over. It's done. I'm on to the next one. But when you accomplish stuff, don't ever forget why you did it, how it felt. And just remember that you can do it. And if you've done it once, you can do it twice. And when you do it twice, you're living your best life, baby. Taj Rockitt. I'll see y'all next time. Go conquer your dreams. Go conquer your goals. Don't listen to the no's. Holla. I'll see you next time, baby.